Hey everybody, it's time to rank every twisty puzzle that I own. Or I think this is everyone that I own. Either way, I've got on my twisty puzzle earrings that my friend gave me. Love you if you're watching this. And I didn't have a twisty puzzle themed necklace, so I just wore a really colorful choker. And we're gonna go ahead and rank these puzzles. So they're almost all ones that I solved in this playlist, my twisty puzzles playlist, but not all of them. And so in our first ever video, we went ahead and talked about making this tier list, and I already ranked that first puzzle, which is the Yushin 3x3 Mega Minx. Great puzzle, S tier, because it's always a fun time to solve. You have 10 minutes, you just do it, and it's relaxing, doesn't hurt your fingers, moves really well. This next one is a 1x2x3 that I actually 3D printed in college. And I'm going to put it in A tier because it's very simple and it's fun to give to people who don't know how to solve puzzles just to see if they can get lucky and put it into the correct state. They can't always do that, but when they do, they often feel really happy, and honestly, it makes me happy too, so that's why it's A tier. Now we've got the Yongjun 1x3x3 floppy cube. I'm going to put this in C tier because it's not all that floppy. Like, I wish it could do even more states than it can. And it can't, and it's honestly just kind of boring to solve because it's still too easy. Next up we have this 2x2, which is the KeyDS 2x2, and it's one of my favorite puzzles. I love the 2x2 in general, and that's my favorite 2x2x2 because it's very smooth, very easy to use, and it's where I get all my best times. This is the Land 2x2x2 dodecahedron. And it's quite fun. It's just a 2x2x2 shape mod. So it's either A tier or B tier because honestly I'll put it in A tier. It's one of the most unique 2x2x2 shape mods there is, but it gets overshadowed by this one right here, which is called looking for it in the playlist, which is my cheat sheet of names. This is the Yongjun 2x2x2 elephant puzzle into S tier, because she is a pink elephant and she deserves it. Next up we have the MGC 2x2x2, the Yongjun MGC2, yep. We're gonna put you into B tier, honestly, because you're a really good 2x2x2 and you're still a 2x2x2, but you're disappointing. Okay, on to another 2x2 shape mod. I made this in college as well, 3D printed it and glued it onto another puzzle as extensions, and then duct taped it, just like the 1x2x3. I'm gonna put you in probably A tier as well, just because you're so cute. I love Pokemon, I love the Master Ball, but it's not the most fun to solve because the pieces can get a little stuck and the tape job's not perfect. But because it's Pokemon, should I just put it in S tier? Sure, let's do it. Pokemon's worth it. This is the Z Puzzle 2x2x3, and we're going to put you, I think, in B tier, honestly. It's quite a unique puzzle, and it's definitely better than the 1x3x3, but there's nothing that special about it. This next one is the Fangshin 2x3x3 plateaued cube, much like the 2x2x3, except a little bit more complicated. So we're gonna put you in, I think, C tier. I didn't really have a great time solving it because of just missing one step and not knowing what to do about it. This is the YJ Square King, and it's just a 3x3 shape mod, but it was fun, so I'll put it in C tier, honestly. It's not that special. This next one is my magnetic 3x3x3, which is called the Moyu MF3 RS3M. And with such an impressive name, I was kind of hoping for more, but it was not as good as just my standard 3x3x3. So we're gonna put it in C tier, I guess. Actually B tier, it's not that bad, and it's a 3x3, so it's a classic. Next up, we've got my own personal 3x3, which is a Yushin Little Magic that I modded with my own magnets. And you're going into S tier, because I love you and put so much time into making you. Next up we have, I don't even know what that is. Oh, wait, no, that's not one that I've made a video on in this series. This is one that I got. It is like a 3x3x3, except a 2x2 of corners is bandaged together so you can't move it around. And it's quite an interesting puzzle. It's not too hard to solve. And so I'm gonna put it in C tier because it's honestly just a little bit ununique. These are the Yushin Little Magic Force Cubes, and because of the fact that if you watch that video, you'll know that they're not actually perfect on the inside, only on the outside are they perfect. They're going to go into, probably C tier, because they're still really fun and pretty to look at, but they just aren't as exciting as they could be. Next up, we have the Lego Cube, or the not Lego Cube. I think it was called the Building Blocks Cube. Here it is, the Fengshin Building Blocks Cube. And this one's actually quite a nice 3x3x3. It's really grippy, which makes it a lot of fun to solve. So we're gonna put it in probably A tier, because it's just so much more enjoyable to solve than even that magnetic RS3M. Next up is the Fengshin Penrose Cube, which is honestly really fun because it only has 3 sides and it's still just a 3x3 shape mod, but because of that, because of the uniqueness of only having 3 sides, we're gonna put it in B tier, I think. Next up, we have one of my first ever popular videos, which I think is the Fengshin Twisty Cube. Yeah, the Fengshin Twisty Cube. And even though it was popular, it's also my most disliked video ever, I think. Oh, but it was my first video to break 100 views. And it's still just a 3x3 shape mod, but it is a fun one. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. It has a drawback. It's really pretty, but it has the drawback of the fact that the pieces are very slippy and hard to use. Yeah, so this is the Windmill Cube, and I had it growing up. It's quite a fun puzzle, but it's still just a 3x3 shape mod. And only for nostalgia's sake am I not gonna put it in D tier and put it in C tier instead. This is a fun puzzle. I don't even remember what this one's called. I think it's the Curvy Copter though. And I have actually the footage of me solving this, so I'm gonna make a video on this at some point probably, but don't know when. And it was very fun and very pretty, so I'm actually gonna put it in A tier. Next up, we have the Dino Cube, one of the easiest cubes to solve and one of the cutest names. And I'm gonna put it in A tier because honestly, it's such a good puzzle. Next up, we have my 3x3x9, which is also a puzzle that I had growing up and inspired me to make my 2x2x64 puzzle that I made. There's no video on it and there never will be a video on it because I threw it out, but it was really fun to make a 2x2x64, and so I used a lot of the design stuff in this puzzle to make that puzzle. Growing up, I absolutely fucking adored this puzzle, so I'm gonna put it in A tier. And honestly, it is quite a fun puzzle. It's very unique and very monotonous, and a great time if you're just doing this, want to do the same thing over and over again. This puzzle is it looks almost exactly like the Moyu RS3M, but it is not. What are you? Oh yeah, this is my childhood 4x4x4, which honestly, it moves pretty good, but it was never that good, and I just never really liked the 4x4x4, because it introduces parity, and I don't know, it just wasn't that fun to me. So we'll put it as their first D tier, because honestly, it also popped a shit ton, and I don't even remember what brand it was, but that's okay. Up next, I believe this is the Cloud Unicorn. The Yushin 5x5 Cloud Unicorn, and only because it's a unicorn does it go up to B tier, because otherwise it's honestly just a 5x5, nothing special about it. This next puzzle is a 6x6x6, which I would have sworn that I got in this unboxing, but I guess I didn't. I guess I already had it. Well, either way, 6x6x6 is the same as the 4x4x4. They are essentially equivalent in my head. Next up, we have this one, which is the 7x7. It's the Mofeng Jiyoshi MF7S, which is a great puzzle. Love this puzzle. Gonna put it in B tier because it's the stickered version, and the non-stickered version is much prettier. So this is probably the MF8S. Is that even a puzzle name? Yeah, but I guess I got this one not in that puzzle thing as well. But because it's an 8x8x8, I quite enjoy it. And even though it's an even-sided puzzle, it's my biggest even-sided puzzle, so it's gonna go on there. Now this is the MF9S, and I absolutely adore this puzzle. You're going into A tier. It's so fun to make little patterns on it and stuff like that. This is the Z Puzzle Gear Cube 2x2, and it's honestly not that fun. We're gonna put you in D tier because the mechanism sucks. Actually, we're gonna put you in F tier because the mechanism on it sucks and like is clunky and you can't open it all the way and you never know if you're like breaking it or something. This is another childhood puzzle of mine. It's my 3x3x3 Gear Cube. We're gonna put you into D tier because you barely move and honestly just kind of aren't the best. Next we have the 3x3 Ghost Cube, which is going into either S tier or A tier. We're gonna put it in A tier just because it's not the most enjoyable to solve, but it's all pink. Because it's all pink and it looks really cool and makes people excited, we're gonna put it into S tier actually. Next up is my dodecahedral 2x2x2. One of the first puzzles I ever solved. Unfortunately, it's broken because in the solving video, I literally threw it across the room by accident and broke it. But it is, I believe, a shank shout, and it is one of the best puzzles. So we're gonna put you in S tier because you are like the Mega Minx, but when you have even less time. This is a 3x3x3 that was a gift, I believe, and I like it, but it wasn't the best, and so, but it's still a 3x3 Mega Minx, so we're gonna put it in probably C tier because the turning on it wasn't the best. Next up is my Shangshao 4x4 Mega Minx, or Master Killaminx as it's called. You can go into B tier because you are cute, and I love all of the Minx puzzles, but you are even-sided, so a little bit of knocked points for that. This is the Gigaminx, Shangshao Gigaminx. I love the Shangshao Gigaminx. It was kind of my first ever like real big puzzle that took me a really long time to solve. We're gonna put you in A tier. You turn great. This is the Hexaminx, which unfortunately is gonna rank one spot lower than the Master Killaminx because it is quite the challenge, or it's quite the task, and it doesn't really introduce anything new over the 4x4, but is just kind of longer, harder to turn, and more tedious. Now we have the 7x7. You are also going to go into A tier because honestly, I solve you more than any other of my Minx puzzles because I brought you to work and everyone loves looking at you. Next up is the Petaminx, and Petaminx obviously goes into S tier. It is one of the original massive puzzles that people loved, and it's just a really good puzzle, honestly. Next up we have this Tutminx, and the Tutminx is of course going to go into S tier because why wouldn't it? It is a Tutminx after all. Yeah, Tutminx, everyone knows it's one of the coolest puzzles ever. It's a buckyball. Next up we have this guy. This is the Key 2x2 Pyraminx. I was very sad that it's not a Pyraminx, it's actually just a 2x2 shape mod, so it goes into D tier. Next up is my childhood Pyraminx. It was actually the first puzzle that I ever solved, and it goes into A tier. First puzzle I ever solved got me into twisty puzzles. I was just sitting there. It probably took me like an entire day to figure out how to solve it consistently. Like I kept solving it by accident and I couldn't figure it out, but then I eventually got it. Next one up is the 4x4 Pyraminx, which is an actual Pyraminx, unlike the 2x2. It is the Fengshin 4x4 Pyraminx. And this one, I'm gonna put it into B tier because it's not the most fun. It's kind of just a tricky puzzle with nothing too unique about it over the 3x3. It's a lot harder than the 3x3 though. Yeah, this is the Shangshao 2x2x2 Paramorphinx. It's honestly just hard to grab and just a regular 2x2 shape mod, so you're gonna go into C tier. This is the 3x3 version of that. And you are also kind of annoying and a little bit harder. And yeah, pretty annoying. We're gonna put you in D tier. It's just a 3x3 shape mod. And this is the Big Puffy Boy. It is the 4x4 version of it. And this one introduces parity, but I remember having a lot more fun with it because of the increased amount of like cool patterns you can do. So I'm gonna put you in B tier actually. Next up is this one, which is the Fengshin Fisher X Cube, and I hated this puzzle. D tier, for sure D tier. Not F tier because there's nothing like mechanically wrong with it, but it just wasn't fun, and the Scube itself is a lot more fun than this one, and this one doesn't actually add anything because it's just a shape mod. This is the 3x3x3, the key sail, and it's honestly just iconic for modding. And so we're gonna put you into C tier because you're not honestly that good of a puzzle, but you're not a bad puzzle, completely average. This is a 5x5x5. What 5x5 are you? This is the MF5S. And the MF5S was kind of like my Cloud Unicorn, but stickered, and I guess it just wasn't as fun as the Cloud Unicorn, so we're gonna put you in C tier too. Kind of generic. Now this is the Yongjun Floppy Cube version 1 that has the stickers, so I think it goes one rank above the other one because it doesn't have those annoying little center pieces that can't be solved super easily. This is a 2x2 that I didn't solve on the channel, I don't think, but rather used as the core of another puzzle, probably this Master Ball puzzle actually. And so yeah, we're gonna put you into D tier because you are completely unmemorable. Next up we have this guy, Function 4x4 Transformer Cube. Literal F tier, one of the worst puzzles ever. It's hard to move and it's a 4x4, so how could you like it? Oh, that's rude, but whatever. Now this is a Scube. I never really liked the Scube. It always felt just like it was exactly like a Pyraminx, but obfuscated. I don't actually know if it is exactly like a Pyraminx, but obfuscated, but I used the same kind of things for it. And whenever I like move it around, it just falls out of people's hands, and it's hilarious, which is the only reason why it's gonna go into C tier. This is the Mosaic Cube. I think it's a Land. Yeah, the Land Mosaic Cube, which is very, very pretty. And because of how pretty it is, it's probably gonna go into, actually no, it's gonna go into A tier because it's really fun to solve, but it's not S tier quality. Next we have this one, which is the square one. It is a Moyu square one. Yeah, the Moyu Mofeng Jiyoshi MF square one, and it is awful. It's probably C tier. It's the hardest puzzle I've ever solved, and it was really gratifying to actually solve. But because it was so hard, I guess that I just don't like it that much. This is another childhood puzzle. I actually have zero clue what this one is called. Like, not the slightest bit of clue. But that's okay. You, since you are so unmemorable, are gonna go into D tier. You're just a 3x3 shape mod, so nothing special about you. Next up, we have the Land Rhombic Dodecahedron. And this is one of the coolest puzzles ever. It is such a unique shape. It's not even symmetrical, the shape, really. And because of that, I think it's a great puzzle. Next we have this guy, which is it's the Limb Cube Transformed Twin Pyraminx. And it's just so unique, really. It introduces a new mechanic on top of a 2x2 shape mod that just completely transforms the puzzle. And yeah, so that's everything. I hope you enjoy the ranking, and if you ever want to see me get more puzzles, yeah, just let me know. Maybe I'll make some more videos, maybe I won't, but that's the end of the main series. So thank you all so much for sticking with it, and I hope that you have a great week. Bye!